Welcome, dear viewers, to this episode of News Without a Face, where we dive deep into the world of current events with a touch of satire, a sprinkle of irony, and a whole heap of truthiness. Today, we're tackling a topic that has tongues wagging across the nation faster than a tweet from the Oval Office. Yes, we're talking about President Donald Trump's executive order declaring English the official language of the United States. Hold on to your hats, preferably red ones with catchy slogans, because we're in for a wild ride. Now let's start by addressing the elephant, or should we say, the bald eagle, in the room. The United States of America, a country that prides itself on diversity so much that it can't even decide how to pronounce tomato, has officially adopted English as its go-to language. Who would have thought that in a nation where you might hear y'all in the South, you guys in the Midwest, and something altogether incomprehensible in Boston, we'd finally settle on one language to rule them all? In a move that some might call a no-brainer, President Trump signed this executive order on March 1st. It's the kind of bold leadership that makes you wonder if we should start calling him the decider. The text of the order is a masterpiece of bureaucratic prose, claiming that a unified language is the cornerstone of a cohesive society. Because obviously, nothing says unity like forcing everyone to conjugate verbs in the same tongue. But wait, there's more. This order is also supposed to cultivate a shared American culture for all citizens. Because clearly, nothing brings people together like telling them there's only one acceptable way to order a cheeseburger. Yet in this melting pot of a nation, some folks are finding it a bit hard to swallow. Let's hear from the melting pot's finest. Shane from Kentucky is waxing poetic about the country's foundation, built by a delightful medley of folks who couldn't understand each other, but somehow managed to invent baseball. Meanwhile, Steve from Michigan is 100% behind the idea because, as we all know, Michigan is the bastion of linguistic purity. If only we could all speak as clearly as those folks from Detroit. Junior, a Mexican-American from Houston, is all aboard the English train. I'm Mexican, but I'm American, and this is America, he says, proving once and for all that you can be bilingual and still love apple pie. Junior gets it. When in Rome, do as the Romans do, except when you're in America, and then you should probably just speak English. On the flip side, we've got Mary in Washington, D.C., championing multiculturalism. She argues that the more languages we speak, the more enriched our lives become. A beautiful sentiment indeed. But doesn't that sound suspiciously like hard work? Learning new languages when we could just binge watch reality TV instead? Then there's David from Michigan, who reminds us that when the U.S. Constitution was ratified, there were about 40 to 50 languages being spoken. A historical fact that raises the question, were our founding fathers just really good at charades? Daryl from Houston is convinced that English should always have been the official language. His reasoning is as Texan as it gets, big, bold, and with a side of barbecue sauce. Meanwhile, Glenn from Tennessee isn't sure what to think, which makes him the most relatable person in this whole debate. Sometimes indecision is the real American way. Linda and Trudy from Houston are taking a stand against the order, insisting that we're not living in the 1950s. A fair point, considering that the 50s were a time of poodle skirts, soda fountains, and, unfortunately, a lack of Wi-Fi. Howard from North Carolina and Jay from Knoxville are showing us that you can support the order and still appreciate cultural diversity. It's like ordering a vanilla milkshake, but adding a shot of espresso, plain with a twist. Finally, Charles from Mississippi is making sure we don't forget that we're Americans, and English is our language. Because if there's one thing Americans love, it's a good reminder of who we are, preferably delivered with a side of Southern hospitality. Now, dear viewers, it's your turn. What do you think about this executive order? Do you see it as a step towards unity, or does it put the "un" in united? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more satirical takes on the news. Because in a world this absurd, laughter might just be the best language of all. Remember, folks, opinions are like executive orders. Everyone's got one, but only a select few can sign them into law. Keep those comments coming, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay ironic.